what you're seeing here is this is it's not yet a full-blown system in the one that I have, but it is almost done, kind of our demo space. And this is going to be what Learn 2015 pretty much already looks like. They change this a lot as they go through, so it keeps adding new features in this scaffolding interface. But what I want to show you, for those of you that are familiar with the current iteration of Learn and how it works, it's looked that way for quite some time. And it works quite well. But in Learn 2015, what we wanted to do is kind of improve the workflow and make it a little easier for students and instructors to get what they need where they need it. And instead of introducing workflows that require them to leave what they're doing and go through several clicks, be able to contextually deliver the tools and content wherever it makes most sense and kind of in that workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And, you know, gone in this case here, gone are the modules and tabs. What has happened here is things have become a little bit more flat, but also served up in a more meaningful way. The very first screen I get to see when I come in to Learn, instead of looking through a variety of modules to find what might be relevant to me, I'm served up with what we know is going to be relevant. And this, I'm an instructor in this particular example here, but this is almost like a Blackboard timeline in a sense. And it's telling me as the instructor, here's what's happened essentially since the last time you logged in or the last time you saw this screen. And this screen is going to be a combination of things that are what I have to do, what I have to intervene on. So for example, there might be a test with some essay questions that need grading. That's going to be, you know, it's going to alert me here. Or things that I have due in my classes. It's funny because as an instructor, you care about due dates as much as students do. You want to make sure that, you know, things are coming in, you want to grade them right away. Or, oh, I have a test I have to deliver on that day. I also get to see the interactions that are happening throughout the course, whether they be in things like assignments or within something like a discussion board. And so, you know, in previous versions of Learn, these things were there, but they weren't always as nicely consolidated. I might have to go to a couple different screens to see this. Here, it really serves these things up. And so instead of having to jump into the course and navigate all the way down, just by clicking here in the timeline, I can jump right into, if I want to, the grading workflow. That's a big improvement. And frankly, a lot of our other clients, a lot of our competitors don't do it in this way. You might be alerted on a screen like this that you have 12 papers to grade, but then you have to go find the papers to grade them. Here, I may decide to go into the course and go about that grading later, or I can jump into it here. And the great thing is this page, it's got everything on the fly, and as you'll notice as I walk through this, instead of having it go and navigate through lots of different windows or kind of leave my place, everything's coming over in kind of in layers. And so I can always see where I was. It's very easy to get back there. This concept has been extended to a lot of the apps that we know and use now, especially in mobile devices, where you can kind of see the menu behind, or you can always know where you are without having to manage a complicated breadcrumb trail. The great part is no matter where you jump around in this interface, you're never more than a couple of clicks away from where we need to be. And you know that really is a nice, it really gives you the freedom to jump around. So here we got the timeline where you can see I've got some assignments. The iconography tells me some of the content, some of the tests, or in this case, I've got students who reply to my posts. And right here, I get to see kind of the blurb of what's happening shortly, and I can go and respond in frame right now, or I can jump into the entire discussion. What's great about all of these things is I haven't even gone into any of my courses yet. This is serving me up the most fresh kind of and things that need to happen right now across all of my courses. And from someone who has taught multiple courses, you know, I might go in on a daily basis. I've got 2 sections of one course, and a section each of 2 other courses. It's what, you know, you're teaching 3 in a sense, or 4 all at the same time. Due dates are different. Timelines are different. Content is different. And you can spend a long time jumping back and forth through all your courses. What was turned in? Do I have to respond to this discussion board? It becomes a little overwhelming. This really starts to limit that. I love being able to log in and see, boom, grade now. You know, finding that button before, or kind of navigating into a grade center and going, what do I have to grade? 10 years ago, or 11 years ago, back when I was talking about how we didn't have integration, I didn't have a button like this. I had to go to, you know, my publisher website and look through the quizzes to see if any student had taken a quiz since the last time I logged in. I don't have to do that anymore. I know that if there's a grade now, I can jump into that grading workflow from here. So, and this is all just here on the recent activities screen. You can see on the left-hand side, we've got the ability to go through courses, organizations, calendar messaging, grades, and tools. these are going to be happening and kind of customized and catered to me at the user and or system level. So again, I haven't even navigated into a specific course yet, and courses have their own tool sets and calendar and things like that, but those also exist at this level. This gives us some opportunity to present to users tools as well as events, for example, that may not be specific to a course, but are needed by that user. And really the idea of having that user context as well as the course context is very important. It's all right here. I don't have to go dig for it. And you'll notice I kind of clicked off twice. I've gone into recent activity, I came over to courses. The amount of information, the amount of relevant and needed information that got served up is really, really great. The stuff I'm seeing on the screen is the things I actually want. I don't have to go and figure out what on the screen is important to me. So in a little bit more about the layout and the form factor, I talked about how the modules and the tabs are no longer here, and that's been with us in Learn for a very long time. By going away from those and presenting it in this kind of layered fashion, not only does that clean up the interface, makes it look more modern, and I think it's very visually appealing, it also adds another important element. It allows for the dynamic readjustment and reconfiguration of these screens when we talk about devices with a smaller form factor. Tablets, phones. It is amazing at this point when you think about, at one point, well, we have to develop for mobile. And mobile meant a small phone. As we all know, that is no longer the case. If you look at the iPhone 6 Plus, that is, I think I had a laptop screen that was maybe slightly smaller than that. And then you think about an iPad tablet, the amount of sizes is a lot. And instead of trying to build an app that has to deal with all of those, what's happening here with the flattening of this interface and the layers, if I go and size this window, it automatically adjusts. So what you're seeing here, even though I'm still on my computer, what you're seeing here, this is the way it would look on something like an iPad, and with a tablet view. Notice the icons are still there, but the words are gone. They've made it a little bit smaller to maximize the screen for what's most important, always kind of making sure that the bulk of the real estate is focused on the stuff that's most important to the user at that time. If I shrink this window even more, you'll notice another readjustment there. This is what would happen on something like a phone. So everything's there, and I can still go to my menu. This very, very reminiscent of a lot of typical mobile-based apps where the menu slides out from left to right. It's all still there. And then, again, as I grow it bigger, I get my tablet view, and then grow it bigger again, and back to kind of a full-based web view on a browser. This is great not only to start eliminating the full reliance on mobile apps, not that we won't have them, but to be able to pop in and look at something without saying, oh, I've got to have the app first. It'll just work. And I've actually been trying this out on my phone and my iPad, thinking, like, how far can I go before it breaks? And it actually all works, which is really nice. I also really love it in my browser because a lot of times I'll have multiple windows open. I will shove this down to really small. I still get to see everything. So what I've done here is I've gone to the courses screen, and you can see a nice kind of vertical timeline. This is a very common occurrence. So we've got instructors that are going to be dealing with the courses that are happening right now. That's that middle column. But also, I'm always going to need access to the courses I've taught in previous terms. Those are there. And then, of course, if I've got courses coming up that haven't been created yet, they're going to happen. And that, again, that timeline view. So you can see I can go back, I can go forward. This is also great because the My Courses list in the current iteration, and really a lot of our competitors as well, it gets littered. And you don't want to get them off the list because you want to have access to them. But they start to, crazy naming conventions and a lot of reordering. Having it just be as simple as date sensitive and drawing my eye to the center of the screen, these are my courses that are happening right now. It makes sense. As we move on by term, they shift over, and my eye is always drawn to stuff that's happening now. So I'm going to pop into this life sciences course, and again, noticing that layered feel, I can still get back to where I was within one click. It's hanging out back here, but I either click this X up in the left corner or just kind of click this black area, and I'm back. Very easy to go back and forth. The courses have been definitely cleaned up, but what's funny is when I look at this, people say, oh, it looks so clean. Actually, it's more. There's more stuff being served up, but in a better way. It's clear. It's making better use of the space. So from this one screen, I can get a good feel for what's in, say, the Science of Life folder. Without having to go into the folder, see the content back out of the folder, I can expand and contract it, but I can very easily navigate within it without having to feel like I'm jumping screen to screen. Streamlined iconography, kind of showing me, okay, that's a PDF, that's a Word document, and then these might be discussions or exercises the student has to complete. Instead of having it be where menus are built into one place, if I decide I need some additional content in this course, I can click this plus wherever it's visible to me. And that kind of lets me insert what I want in that space. So it's like saying, oh, well, I actually need a link to X in between my syllabus and this time to life folder. I can execute or initiate that content adding workflow right there. And you'll notice instead of overwhelming the instructor with every single option as possible, they've been delineated. It's almost like a choose your adventure workflow, where if I go to the create side, I am going to be opened up with some additional choices. These make sense. But instead of blasting me with all these choices on that first screen, it kind of, in a sense, asks the instructor a very quick question. Which of these three things are you looking to do? And when you pick one of those things, then it asks you more questions about that thing. That guided workflow concept is happening all over in Learn 2015. So it just feels easier. It feels more intuitive. So if I go in here to create, and you can see these are some of my options, keep in mind this is not a full-blown demo server just yet. They don't let me have everything yet. But some of these things are still in development on this particular machine. But if I say, like, I want to add, say, a document, I can go to a document. Before I do that, though, look at some of these other options. And what's great about this is that whatever one I click, so I click participation engagement, it shrinks the other ones out of the way. And so, yeah, on this server right now, there's 3 options, discussion, wiki, and blog. But what happens when there's also, journal and 4 other new choices, there's room for them. Because it's taken out of the screen the stuff that I've already told it I don't want to look at. So if I go over back to the course outline, I'm going to pick documents just as an example. And again, it's one layer. My course is still hiding out behind, but now I'm guided through building of this. And it's visually appealing, but also very functional. So I can decide to chunk this out if I want. I can get in here and, add my heading. I can start building it. I can say anytime I can add media if I want. I can keep adding new sections. It is very easy on the fly to build content. And as much integrated content as we have, and of course that's very big to us in business development, to have as much partner integrated content as we can, it's still crucial to provide a streamlined, easy workflow for instructors to build their own content, because that's not going away. What we want is courses where, no matter where the content's coming from, authored by the instructor on the fly, uploaded pre-existing, or integrated with some robust, partner or publisher quality content, we want it to be this easy no matter what. And we want it to make sense. I don't want the, multiple pop-up windows. I don't want to have to worry if you have Java installed. I don't want to have to worry about those menus where you have to hover on your mouse, go down 3, and then if you move the mouse, you lose that pop-up side menu to start the whole thing all over again. Those things are happening here. And so it's very easy for me on the fly to build these things out, save this, and then just add it right to the course. And so I can decide I want to show this, and then I can add a description if I want, and then I can move on. And I think in this particular one, I don't know that it actually adds to the server, this kind of server, but it's going to show up right here. But notice how smooth and easy all of these are. I can very easily reorganize, drag and drop. I can trash this, add new content wherever I want. We've also built in, right here on this interface, the ability to change the view of the course. So if I want to filter this by assignments or filter by discussion, this gives students and instructors the power to get in here and say, no, I got to get my assignment. What do I have in this course? Instead of, I wonder where my instructor put the assignments in this course. Because that happens all the time. Instructors get crafty with the way they lay things out, and we want them to be crafty. We don't want to make students hunt for something they need, though. So no matter how the instructors lay it out, whatever works for them, students can still come in here and be able to leverage these filters or search on the fly and find exactly what they want. I can't tell you how many times students say, I can't find your assignment, and I thought I was being all kinds of organized. That they didn't look for it the way that I thought I put it. So it doesn't matter. They can filter this out and find the assignments very easily. What we've also done here, as you can see it, the virtual office. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go into it just now, but we built in the kind of newer overhauled version of our Collaborate tools that's available to instructors, giving some synchronous tools for things like office hours or a group meeting kind of thing. So you'll build that right in and have it integrated into the course experience. And so it's right there ready to go for instructors. Also in our courses, you're going to see a dedicated course calendar. And everybody has a course calendar built in, but this one's definitely pretty smooth. I can see what's going on in my course. I can edit on the fly. The dots, of course, indicate that there's something going on that day. And this is great because it's going to give me the class schedule, but it's also going to let me know what's going on in the course each day for that. And there's different views that I can use to look at that. I'm also going to have the ability to communicate with my students in a variety of ways. This one is the built-in course messaging. This kind of reminds me of a Facebook Messenger, but for courses. With a lot of clients, a lot of instructors that really need the course messaging to stay within the course. For record keeping, for ease of use, for archival purposes, they steer the students away from email. They want it built in, but they don't want to be ordering. They want it to be intuitive and useful. And I have to say, this is quite useful. You can jump in and see students, whatever they've said, and very easily respond forward, organize it, delete it, navigate through, flag it. And this messaging screen lives in each course, but then also can be aggregated at a user level. So instructors could see all their messages across all their courses. And of course, there's a search built in as well. The grading workflow, I'd love to spend hours on this, but this screen, for anybody who's done any kind of online grading, especially in our current grade center, I won't say that too loudly. I love our grade center, but sometimes it's almost too much. This is amazing to me. I can come in here and look at that first line. I can tell from that one line that there are 27 submissions need to come in. Of those 27, 20 have come in, and I've graded them, but 7 have not come in yet. And I can decide, and also I know what it's due. So I know I need some grading to do, but I've got some time. I've got at least a couple of weeks. I may skip that one and go grade something else. Just to be able to see that on the fly without digging, as you know, these kind of summation counts that are happening, that's also really good. Telling the instructor this many needs to be done, or this many days before that needs to be done, then I can opt to drill in and see the details. So I'm also getting the ability to, jump right into the grading workflow. I don't know if it's going to let me. Let me pop back in there. Server likes to throw me every once in a while here. Let me see if I can jump into the other one. All right, it's jumping in there, but all right, I'm not going to focus on that too much. I've had this happen once before. You see it and then it goes away. Let me just, I'm going to move on this course. The other piece built right in there up at the top is the discussion. Discussions, the asynchronous kind of discussion. These are typically graded types of discussions. But this is great because it's so smooth, so intuitive, reminds me of the kinds of discussions you might have in any kind of online forum, but very easy and very quick to get to. And again, integrated into the course in a nice, smooth way. I love being able to see the participants right there on the fly very quickly. But again, I want to navigate into any other courses. It's 2 clicks at most. Actually, I can do it with 1 click if I hover on the little menu in the back to be able to get there. So that's kind of a quick overview of what the courses look like. And you can see here, calendar, messages, and grades. These are going to be now for me as the whole user. So I can only see my course calendar by going into that course and looking at that calendar. This calendar is showing me my, in a sense, user calendar. It's going to aggregate together all the events across all the courses, and as well as system events. Things like personal events, things like that might be posted by the system administrator or by the school, and then of course my own, and I can filter and search for that as well, and create new events on the fly. Love seeing a search button on almost every screen that's in here. That's a long time coming, and it's quite nice to have that. We were commenting earlier as a group, students, users these days are much less worried about organizational structures because searching has gotten so ubiquitous and so easy that people just put stuff wherever they want. They don't have to care. And I'm still trying to get to that point myself. I still am a folder type person, but it's hard to break habit. But what's nice is that even no matter how organized you are, that doesn't mean your students understand your structure. And by implementing a search everywhere, it takes away some of that. So even if I think I'm all kinds of organized, I've got everything laid out the way I think it's best, that may not be intuitive to my students. Having a search alleviates a lot of that. The grading workflow is also available here. This is kind of a shortcut into each grade center. But again, things to grade, things not sent, class averages, all with one glance across all of my courses. I can think of the existing versions of Learn and some of the other LMS platforms. To get these high-level metadata points would be like 6 different screens. You'll pop in here and know across a glance what's happening. Nothing to grade. I'm Geochemistry 100 right now. diving into Chemistry 100 and checking to see what needs to be graded. So it's really quite smooth. And then tools. So this tools area here, this is really like a system area. We've always struggled with presenting system tools in a way that, in a balanced way to address the user's needs, the way the client wants their Blackboard system configured, what we want. This really puts a formable, moldable tools space that we can give our clients some control over to highlight what they need to present to their users, in this case I'm an instructor, but also to be able to deliver tool sets to our users. And you see that on the right-hand side, those are just placeholders. But to have a page we know exists that all users will see, that lets them hone in on tools that are important and useful to them, that may not necessarily be course level. It seems simple, but it's always been a struggle. Having this here makes it a lot easier for us to get users those tools they need in a space that they need them. And the courses also have this equivalent page for course tools, but these might not be course tools. These might be system or user level tools. And then we can deliver those contextually here to the user where it makes sense. So I know that's a lot to digest. I want to be cognizant of time, and that's kind of a quick overview, but I'm hoping we all got kind of a feel for what we're going with this and what it looks like. I always know that Jim wants to add in things I missed. I was checking the chat. I noticed it later on. I don't want to go back to that particular topic, but anything else you want me to talk about or cover before we move on? I just want to make sure.
Susan and Derek, this is Robert. I have I have a bunch of questions, but they'd probably string us out for a long time. So, do we want to set up a follow-up session for questions? Do we want to do some questions in writing? How do you want to kind of manage the session today, Susan?
That's a good question. I guess it probably makes a certain amount of sense to, while we have Derek on the phone with us, to be looking. I mean, do you have any questions about the demo that you just saw, about how any things work there? That would be very oriented around, something he would demo to you?
Let's see. I think mostly my questions group into sort of access. How can we get access to some of this to share it at Pearson with more people and to refer to afterwards? That's probably not a Derek thing. Integration type questions, customers to talk to. I guess the one maybe for Derek was you were showing off the responsiveness a bit, and I'm curious from a native mobile app strategy what the plan is. Do you plan for a native mobile app, or do you plan for a downloadable app that's really just a wrapper for responsive web, and how would that impact our integration?
That is also a great question. I know that right now we've got a couple intern things going on where we've got dedicated apps for things like grading, because the grading workflow really optimize on a mobile device for instructors. There's also a BB Student that's kind of maybe a little bit more of a wrapper, but definitely does have some mobile app functionality. I think that question might be better posed to someone in mobile, because I feel like there is a master plan, but I'm only seeing it as it comes out. So
this is Kathy. The plan is that we will maintain both, right? So we will have the responsive design, and we will have a full native app that will again be the optimal experience for a subset of the experience in a mobile app for those things that make sense there. So we will maintain both and continue to invest in both. The mobile app will be persona-based, so we will have a student mobile app and we will have an instructor mobile app, each with functions that would be appropriate for that persona. I should also add. And eventually, I think the expectation is a parent. The third persona would be a parent mobile app.
So one of the other things we thought would be, if you guys are interested, would be worth for us to do is to kind of talk a little bit about, your existing integration and how that might, and so that we can see how that might fit with this. Would that be useful? And then we could talk a little about Rebel. I don't know, but that was what I sort of thought we were going to do. But we're open.
I think generally the way we're coming at this is that, obviously we've got our set of current integrations with you and our current MyLab Mastering products that we integrate with you. So I'm curious to learn more about, future integrations. Can we do one integration with you that covers, the new and the backward compatible versions of Blackboard? I think that's the vision through Partner Cloud.
Yeah, so this is Kathy. Partner Cloud is going to be the first integration that gets added to this view. We're having those conversations now with product development. I've seen some initial, very, very early on, I've seen some initial mock-ups, but that's it. And the intent is, for all of this, at the institution level and at the instructor level, they will be able to choose which view they want. So you can teach your course in this Learn 2015 view, or you can teach your course in what we refer to internally as the classic view. So the way that we envision Partner Cloud working is if you're in the classic view, you will have the classic Partner Cloud integration. If you are in the new Learn 2015 view, you will get the you'll find Partner Cloud in the places that are appropriate for this UI. So within a course, a course has to be one or the other, but within an institution, we will support both.
And is that presuming institutions that are hosted by Blackboard only, or does that sort of flow into local installs as well?
So initially, this UI will only be available to our SaaS offering. I think the intent is longer term to expand that to be available to locally hosted, but that will be a later delivery. It's not going to be the initial delivery.
Okay.
And what we're trying to, I should say one more thing, what we're trying to do with the Partner Cloud is sort of insulate the partner from having to do two different things, right? One for Learn 2015 and one for Classic Learn. And so that all of that sort of, which view do I get, is handled with Partner Cloud. And as we go to upgrade that, we're not having to, the partner's not having to rewrite anything. That what they're doing today in Partner Cloud will work tomorrow in Partner Cloud. Not really ready to commit to that yet because, as I said, we've just started those conversations, but that is our intent, is that nothing has to be rewritten by the partner.
Okay.